The champions. A very warm welcome to the Daily Grind here on Latte Firm. It is Monday, the 15th of September, and after a good weekend of football for Arsenal at home to Nottingham Forest, we are now on our way to Spain to play Champions League football. Welcome to the match preview show. Delighted to be joined by a firm debutant, Adam Keys, who is owner and host of the Arsenal Therapy podcast. Ad, welcome to Latte Firm. How are you, my man?
I'm good. Massive thanks for having me on. I was saying before we started recording, I've been listening for years. So yeah, big honor to be on the show.
Mate, it's a pleasure to have you on. And I love the work that you're doing. Just tell the viewers where people can find you and the sort of things that you're doing on your show.
So you can find me on Twitter first at @AdamKeys_, and then you can find me on YouTube at Arsenal Therapy. It's where I do breakdown nerdy content with kind of dive into the details and the stuff that I love. And it's all up here. Someone has to listen to it because my wife doesn't want to.
Well, listen, you've been doing a great job, and I know you've been making some awesome content over the summer. Do check out Adam's channel, Arsenal Therapy, on YouTube. Welcome to all of our channel members. Welcome to all of our Patreon members, and of course, all the chat. Forder was first in the house, who has his own channel as well, Forder on Football. Do check it out. He says, we talk about the players needing rest and rotation, but when's Yembele going to step up and give FK a night off? Yembele is busy with his own podcast. There are so many great bits of content out there to enjoy. Red Lines and Half Spaces. Do check that out, ladies and gents. A warm welcome to Dave, Guna73, Umair, LOFK, Adam, and chat. Very, very delighted to see you all in the chat. Rancid Pumpkin is here as well. Nathan, a channel member. Ian, my brothers, he says. Mohammed Zakaria, welcome to you. Paul James, evening all. Not loving a 5:45 p.m. kickoff tomorrow, but looking forward to the game nonetheless. And that is what we're going to talk about, ladies and gents, boys and girls. The game. Athletic Club Bilbao. We head to Spain for that game tomorrow. Early kickoff UK time. It's our first game of the Champions League sort of league stage. So I want to get all your thoughts on that, and then we'll get Adam's thoughts on team news and who he might pick and where the match might be won or lost, and predictions at the end. But Ad, the opening question. The Champions League is back. How are you feeling?
Good. I think we have to be amongst the favourites this year. I think we showed it last year. And after Saturday, I feel on top of the world. I don't know about you, but I look at every player on the pitch that played on Saturday, and I thought it was just one of those performances where there was no one that had a bad game. I look at Timber at right back, and he was one of the more underappreciated players. He was absolutely phenomenal. And I think whenever you have a win like that, you start the weekend in such good form and such dominant displays that it just puts you in such a good mood and makes you want to watch more football.
It does indeed. I mean, my mouth is watering at the prospect of another campaign in the Champions League, especially after last season where, heartbreakingly, we just didn't have enough gas in the tank to go further than PSG and get into that final. But I think Arteta's been speaking in his press conference to say that actually, he was asked, Arsenal, the biggest club to have never won this competition, how much do you want it? And he said, we want it. We are ready this year. We're focused. We're determined. Do you fancy our chances this season, Ad?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is the first year that I've kind of been, we need to win trophies. It's the squad's good enough. I know Mikel's good enough. And I think it's at the point now that the investment that's come this summer and the performances that we give last season with so many injuries and so many key players missing. It wasn't just injuries, it was injuries to our best players. Like, to rip the spine out of the team like we saw and still do what we did, I think it was hugely impressive. But now is the point where I think perception never changes until you win trophies. And we think of Real Madrid, we think of trophies, you think of Liverpool, Champions League. This is how we become that team. We go and win it. Saliba's talked about it a lot. And I think the players are ready, the manager's ready, and we're ready.
We are ready indeed. And listen, despite both clubs' illustrious histories, this is actually the first time that Arsenal and Athletic Club are meeting in a competitive action. Now, of course, we met them in the Emirates Cup towards the back end of the summer, where we dispatched them fairly easily. Do you have any memories of that game? It was quite a comfortable 3-0 day out at the Emirates Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, that game was the first game that I think we really saw Rice and Zubimendi. We saw Rice dropping into left back, him and Zubimendi rotating, just that kind of double pivot that I think we're going to see more of this season. Gyökeres got his first goal that night, and just all round, it was one of those, the final game of pre-season. I was at the Villarreal game a few days before, and it was so low. It was just one of those where no one quite seemed ready. And then we came out against Athletic Club and just absolutely smashed them in that game. So, yeah, it was a really good way to kind of finish pre-season.
Indeed. Lots of people getting excited about the Champions League. They say it's going to be ours this year. Just Saying says we're going to do it this year. And Vig's reminiscing about Saturday. Beautiful passages of play, fluid football, and that is what we're looking forward to tomorrow. Right, Ad, let's bring up the slides and focus on Athletic Club first. They are, of course, our opponents tomorrow. They've had a solid start to their La Liga campaign, as you guys can see on screen this season. They've played 4, they've won 3, and they've lost 1, losing at the weekend. They opened their campaign with a 3-2 victory over Seville, and they then backed it up with another win over Rayo Vallecano, and then more recently, towards the back end of August, they went away to Real Betis and they won 2-1, and then their defeat came against Deportivo Alaves, and we'll take a look at their starting lineup and their formation in just a second. But the headline news: Nico Williams not going to play. What do you make of that?
It's a big loss. He's their star man. He's there for 10 years now, but it's obviously a big boost to us, and it's one of those. To be honest, I would have quite liked to have seen him and Timber face it off 1v1, because I back Timber against absolutely any winger in the world. I think he's that good. We saw him pocket Vinicius, even against PSG. They didn't get a huge amount of joy from that side, and I know the goal came from it, but it wasn't kind of from that type of situation. And I would have loved to have seen Timber and Nico Williams battle it out. And I always want to see us play against teams at their strongest to really see how we are. But at the same time, if it means us going out, getting 3 points on the board and coming home happy, I'm more than happy not having Nico Williams on the pitch.
Just on that, the 3 points, is it crucial that we go away and win our first game? Or, I've seen talk about, maybe we should rotate, get a draw, just don't get beat. It's a decent start to the league stage. For you, is it just about going there, making a statement, getting a win and coming back with the 3 points?
Yeah, I think last year when it really kicked in, the jeopardy in this league phase was when we lost at Inter. And that's when I thought, actually, this is quite good. I'm feeling the pressure now. And I think you want to get off to a winning start in this competition. We've got harder teams to come. And I want to be going there, making a statement and making sure that we're confident. We've also got City on Saturday or Sunday. So I want to make sure we're going into that game confident. It's at the point of the season where you really want to build momentum. And I know there's a lot of focus on being ready at the end of the season whenever you're playing the big teams in the Champions League. You've got the running in the Prem. But Liverpool showed last year that if you get off to a really good start in the Premier League, you can be in a great position in the second half of the season. And I think that's what we need to do. It's a hard start that we've got, but we've got the squad and we've got loads of confidence after Saturday as well.
Yeah, I think that's wise words, actually. Vig's just coming back on the Timber test. Nico Williams didn't fancy it, sorry. Nathan, channel member, says, all due respect, we have to go away to Bilbao and win. But listen, they've had an impressive start to the season, and despite missing Nico Williams tomorrow, they will be a stern test. This is something that I want to talk about. Aymeric Laporte, of course, former Manchester City player. I was playing away out in Saudi. He joined Athletic Club just 4 days ago from the Saudi Pro League Al Nassr after FIFA did a U-turn on their original decision. Now, 31 years of age, obviously played for Manchester City, now back in. It's going to be too soon for him to feature, but it was just an interesting observation. And that kind of takes me to my next point. Did you know that Athletic Club Bilbao have a signing policy, right? It's a long-standing sort of Basque-only policy, meaning that they only sign players who were born in the Basque country or have been trained in the Basque Club's youth academy. Did you know that?
I did. Phil Costa actually did a really interesting pod on this, on the Football Vision pod, where he went through the history of it. And I didn't realize the level of detail. There's a whole lot of intricacies that go on with their accounting and everything to allow the Basque players to earn a lot more money because they're restricted to who they can sign. So it's a very interesting policy.
It's actually mental if you think about it. Like, imagine we only signed players from London or only used Hale End players. And yet they're so competitive in La Liga. They're in the Champions League. They've had such an illustrious sort of club hero. I think it's wild, actually. So there it is. There's the fact. They only sign players who were born in the Basque country or they play players who trained in the Basque Club's academy. And of course, Aymeric Laporta was part of that. DJ D10 says, evening, everyone. Do smash the likes. Hundreds of you watching live on YouTube right now. Please do hit like on the video. It's a massive help to the channel and the profile on YouTube. And if you're tuning in for the first time and you're enjoying the content, do, of course, subscribe. They, as I just mentioned, had their first defeat in La Liga just a few days ago against Deportivo Alaves. They play in a 4-2-3-1 formation. Sanchez, I think a number of people have sort of said, is one of their best players in the team. Do you know much about Bilbao? I got to confess, I don't watch them on a weekly basis, but I anticipate it's going to be a tough game.
I don't. I've dipped in and out of them mainly because I was watching Nico Williams, and that was primarily what I was looking at. But I didn't follow them a huge amount last season. I started following Sociedad in the second half of the season because of Zubimendi. And given that I've got a full-time job and an unhealthy addiction to Arsenal as well, I don't get to watch as much football. So I tend to focus on the Prem, and then if we're heavily linked to someone, I'll follow that club quite a bit. So I ended up watching Leipzig and wasted a lot of hours watching Sesko. And but yeah, so Zubimendi and Sesko were the two players that I followed quite closely last year, but I haven't seen a huge amount of Athletic Club, to be honest.
Mate, listen, I appreciate the honesty, and I'm not going to be the person here that sort of says that I'm the expert on Athletic Club, but of course they play at the San Mam Stadium. That was been their home stadium now for just over 12 years, a capacity of 53,331. That is the 7th largest stadium in Spain, and it is going to be a hostile atmosphere for Arsenal as we go there for that early kickoff. Like I said, let's feed your addiction then to the Arsenal and talk about Arsenal. So look, injury news. Arteta confirming in his press conference today that Martin Odegaard has not travelled. He had that shoulder injury. Hopefully it's not going to be too serious for the skip. But Ben White also out with a minor, I guess, niggle. He just came back from a minor issue, and now he's got another minor issue. Sad news. And of course, let's not forget the players that are also not on this slide. Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus. We're going to talk about Saliba and Norgard in just a second. But the injuries, I mean, they're still there despite having a stacked squad, Ed.
They are. And I don't know about you, but I'm really worried about Ben White. The constant niggles. I think these things do add up, and we see a trend with players when it happens a lot. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. And I'm not a medical expert, so I just have to say that. But I am worried about Ben White. I think there were times that we really ran him into the ground whenever he was carrying something. He has talked about that before. Ramsdale talked about him playing with, I think it was a grade 2 hamstring injury, and he tried to play on at Newcastle away. Things like that where Ben White's dug in hard. But a big part of that was because Tomiyasu was always out. Then we got great cover. We signed Jurriën Timber. He does his ACL. And I feel like it's the one position that we've signed the backups and had the right numbers and the right quality. But unfortunately, we've had some terrible injury luck. And then that continued last year because obviously Ben White went down and Timber got it. But the Ben White one is one that I am very worried about. I think Odegaard's, it's a contact injury. He's fallen awkwardly on his shoulder. I think it's just very bad luck that it's happened twice, that he landed in such a similar way. It worries me that he's maybe not kind of physically robust to be able to manage a fall like that, but I think he'll be fine. It's one of those that hopefully load him up with painkilling injections and wheel him out on Sunday. But the Ben White one is the concern for me because he's quality. He's such a good player. He gives us something completely different. And as much as I love Jurriën Timber, I think there's certain games that Ben White is an asset to have with the overlaps. Ben White's long passing as well is exceptional. And I would just like that variation because we've seen before, if you run one player into the ground, it tends to lead to injuries at some point. So hopefully it is literally a niggle and they're just being precautious and he's back at the weekend.
I hope so. I mean, there's a lot of people in the chat talking about Ben White, that he's concerning them. Ranted Pumpkin's gone one step further and said, I would sell him next summer. I really hope Ben White comes back because I think he's a fantastic player. I think we all know that. I think he's got a big role to play in this team. Timber can't handle it all on his own on the right-hand side, but of course we do have young Christian Mosquera, who's been absolutely outstanding in the last couple of games for Arsenal. Yamin Yamal is in the chat. Diembele says Mosquera can provide cover at right back if required. Karen says, I don't think Ben was actually fit last game. Did we have enough players on the bench? We did. We'll look at the bench in just a second. Here's a tongue-in-cheek. Play Martinelli right back. And KSSMYW, welcome to the show. Just coming back to me on the old Basque fact. would be crazy to only use players from North London FK. Think about how much Arsenal's style has been influenced by other culture, but it does work for Athletic Club, though. Fair play. That is, honestly, it's just the wildest stat, and I just can't get over it. Those are the injuries. Saka's obviously not travelled. Mikel Arteta said he's got some things to still work on before he can think about coming back. Kai Havertz is going to be out for a few weeks. Gabby Jesus is out for the rest of the year. But players who are coming back, the Rolls Royce at the back, William Saliba, and new signing Christian Norgard, or should I say Christian Norgo? I don't know if you heard that, the correct pronunciation of his name.
I didn't realize that's how it was. I've heard a few different ones, but I didn't realize that's how it was said. I'll be honest, I'm going to call him Norgard because
I think so.
I will not sound good saying it properly.
Well, look, these guys are back. Saliba, of course, didn't play at the weekend, was left out, I thought, quite sensibly by Mikel Arteta. There's no point in rushing him. We know what it's like when he goes out for prolonged periods. Mosquera's come in and done a fine job, but he is fit. Would you play Saliba tomorrow?
I would give Mosquera the nod just because I think it gives Saliba an extra few days. And Mosquera's just had a brilliant performance. Confidence is really high. I thought he was excellent against Liverpool as well. And he's also a Spanish player. So he's used to playing against Spanish teams. So I don't think he's just passed 2 big tests for Arsenal. And for me, I would give him the nod and make sure that we have Saliba back for Sunday. Just give him those extra few days. But I don't know. It's I'm also not going to complain if I see William Saliba in the starting lineup because he's, as you said, a Rolls Royce.
Absolutely. And listen, if he does play, it might allow Christian Mosquera to potentially play right back if we need to manage Yuri and Timber's load. Vig saying Timber needs a rest as well. Trevor saying we need Timber for the big match against Manchester City, which of course follows up very quickly this coming weekend. Christian Norgard hasn't yet featured for Arsenal. Let's call him Norgard. It is a wild pronunciation. I've probably butchered it. Would you expect him to maybe get some minutes tomorrow? Could he be on the bench perhaps?
I don't know. I would expect him to be on the bench if he's fit. But yeah, I'm not sure with him because I don't quite know where he fits in beyond being a backup at the minute. Maybe seeing games out, last 20 minutes coming on. He's very, very different to Zubimendi, and I quite like him. I think he's a good player and someone that's very efficient. He's very good at winning the ball back and getting it long very quickly. If you look at Brentford last season, Norgard won the ball and sprayed it to Mbeumo quite fast and really sprung that counter for them. He was very good at progressing the ball in that way, but he's not great at taking it on the back foot and progressing play from deep. He's more of your he likes the game in front of him, whereas Zubimendi is 360. It doesn't matter where the ball is, it doesn't matter where his man is, he's aware of it. And I think that's the big difference. But I would like to see him get some minutes. I think the earlier some of these players get on the pitch, the more familiar they become with our style and the teammates around them. So let's wait and see. But I'd certainly expect him in the squad.
Yeah, and listen, it's really important to keep fringe players fresh, if you want to describe them as that. You know, take minutes out of other players' legs, but also put minutes in these guys' legs because you never know when you're going to have to rely on them. Krishna just coming back on the Zubimendi point says Zubimendi's played 360 of 360 minutes this season. Is this the game that maybe Arteta rests him? I think probably not. A, it's in Spain. B, it's the first game of the Champions League campaign. I think it's so important that we go there and try and get the win. Not to say that we couldn't win with Norgard in the team, but I think Zubimendi's just that good. So potentially one not to sort of consider there. Hand of Arsenal giving a big shout out to Adam. Says top man, Hand of Arsenal is watching. He watches every show. I absolutely love the support that he's given the channel. He's a big fan of your work. Yeah, he is the GOAT. Yeah, he is a big fan of your work. Obviously, Ad. So do appreciate that, Hand of Arsenal. 433 saying Zubi looks like a high minute player. I don't think it's time just to rest him yet. Well, look, talking of rest and who we might play, let's also think about our new boys. First time under the lights for Arsenal Football Club. How exciting, Adam, that Eberechi Eze and Noni Madueke are going to be representing us tomorrow night.
First time that either of them have played in the Champions League, I think, as well.
Is that right? Madueke's never played for Chelsea. Wow.
Yeah, Madueke said something after the game that it was the first time both of them had played in the Champions League. Although I thought Madueke had played in it for PSV. But yeah, these two I am so excited to see. And the way Madueke played on Saturday, the way he played against Liverpool as well, Eze's debut, and I have to admit, I bought an Eze shirt the minute he signed because I'm a big kid and he's my favorite footballer that wasn't an Arsenal player. So to have him wearing the 10 for us is just unbelievable. I'm so happy to have him. And Gyökeres as well. I thought Saturday was his best all-round performance for us. Really good. I just like what he does. He is one-dimensional. He's not an Isaac with lots of layers to his game. But in some ways, I think he gives us a bit of what we need. There's real clarity to what he does. I think the same with Madueke. He just wants to face up his man every time, go up players 1v1, really eat up that space, get in behind, push that last line back. And what I find really interesting about Madueke as well, when he plays on the right, despite being a left footer, he loves going on his right foot. When he plays on the left, he loves going on his left foot. So that's very unusual because most left footers, as we know, want to cut inside and go onto their stronger foot. Madueke's not bothered. So I think he just gives something completely different. And honestly, I just can't wait to watch him play at the minute. He's got that energy about him that I absolutely love.
Well, just saying that watching Eze and Noni was so refreshing at the weekend. Nathan says Madueke will be bagging tomorrow. And I mean, honestly, it's so exciting. Ads, he says Saka finally has genuine competition on that right-hand side in Madueke. I expect Saka to get even better now. I wonder if Saka can find another gear to climb. The other one is the gunman, Victor Gyökeres. 3 goals now in 2 home games, 3 goals in 4 games this season. Really exciting to see him lead the line, and what a performance on Saturday, but also now under the lights in the Champions League for the Gunners.
Yeah, did you do the celebration on Saturday?
Of course. Mate, I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to get tired of that. Every time he scores in front of the North Bank, even every time he scores at the Emirates, mate, I'll be doing that celebration at home. If I see him, we'll do it on TV. It's just, I mean, come on, it's just so elite. I love it. What do you think of it? Is it a cringe thing for you? Would you
no,
not do it?
I love it. I love it. And I think it was Ben Jacobs you had on here just after he signed and you had Ben doing it with you. So I love it. And I think it's a gimmick. It's great. And it's iconic as well. And I think it's just one of those things that brings fans together. It gets the atmosphere going. And I mean, if he does it 25 times this season, I'll be very happy.
Oh, yes. And tomorrow, excited to see him lead the line in the Champions League. Do you think he's going to have an impactful season for us there?
Absolutely. And I think it's kind of just to the point about Zubimendi and rest. I think it's important to remember these players are still getting fit. So whilst we get into our head a bit about rest, a lot of them haven't built up full fitness yet. Gyökeres missed half a preseason because he was on strike, and he's still getting that kind of form, that rhythm in his game. And I think we're going to see a very different player in 6 weeks' time whenever his fitness is fully built up. Because if you watched him at Sporting, he was relentless. He just kept running. Even that chance against us where he hit the bar when we beat them 5-1, that was right at the end of the game. He was still going at that point of the game. And most players would have given up. They wouldn't have been trying to battle William Saliba and outrun Kiwior at that point. But that's what he does. And I think we're going to see that fitness really grow. And same with Zubimendi. It's also a derby for Zubimendi as well, but he's a Basque boy and he's going to want to go and win. So will Marino. So, yeah, I think it's just a really exciting game and one of those where it's another chance to see our new signings.
A rumour has it the goal is still shaking at the Emirates Stadium after that twatting of the ball against that post. That would have been the most incredible goal. Hand of Arsenal says absolute killer is Victor Gyökeres, the gunman. And yeah, listen, lots of people loving the celebration. It might be cringe to non-Arsenal fans, but I love it. And I can't wait to do it again tomorrow.
And every fan would do it if it was their club as well.
Of course. And you know what? Rival fans have all done it in their living rooms. They just don't want to admit it. Let's talk about the lineup and predictions in terms of the match. And chat will be coming to you guys for your predictions shortly. But that was the lineup courtesy of PremierLeague.com. On Saturday, as you can see, Raya in goal, Timber right back, Mosquera coming in for Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes and Ricky Calafiori left back. Odegaard captained the team, but of course went off very early on for Ethan Nwaneri with Zubimendi and Marino after his spoils for Spain. Noni Madueke, Victor Gyökeres and Eberechi Eze. Look at that bench, Ad. Stacked. Look at the options as I just reel them off. Ben White, Piero Hincapié, who might make his debut at some point tomorrow. Gabby Martinelli, Kepa, Leandro Trossard, Ethan Nwaneri, who I just mentioned. Declan Rice, expected to come back into the mix with Miles Lewis-Skelly and, of course, teenager, year 11 pupil, Max Daumann. If we take the lineup, I did ask you to send me your team before the game but I thought this might be a more fun way or interactive way to do it, where we just sort of go through the team. You're expecting David Raya to start, presumably. No
Yeah.
rotation this early on. Okay. Right back.
I went with Timber, but I do think that someone made an interesting comment in the chat about Mascara potentially playing there, depending on how they feel about Timber, because we know it's a lot of games that he has to play this season. So I'm going to go with Timber, but I'd be happy with Mascara if needed.
And obviously at centre back, you've just mentioned that you wouldn't complain if Saliba did start. Are you expecting Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes to be the partnership?
I'm not sure. I think Mascara might get the nod just to give Saliba that extra day because we've got City and Newcastle coming up.
Okay. Left back, Calafiori, or does Miles Lewis-Skelly get his first start of the season?
I'm going with Miles for this. I worry about Calafiori's fitness, and we've seen the injuries before. I would rather keep him fresh for City at the weekend. And I also want to get Miles fit. You mentioned keeping fringe players and squad players fit. Miles he's a level above that, and I think we want to get him sharp because he's looked a bit rusty. Even at the weekend, he came on, he lost the ball. I thought he bought a cheap foul to get away with it, but yeah, I want to see him get fit, get sharp, and get back to where he was last season.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think Calafiori's shown his brilliance already, and I think it's all about managing him. He's such a good player. We just got to, manage the load, make sure that he's fresh. And of course, Manchester City on Sunday, I think at this stage is probably our first choice left back. Of course, Piero Hincapié hasn't yet played for Arsenal, has been in training. Maybe there's a substitute appearance for him. Jason just coming back to us saying, I could see Saliba coming on at half time to replace Timber and to push Mosquera out to the right back. I wouldn't be averse to that either. Ray just shouting Hincapié, left back shout too. Indeed, Jason agreeing with that as well. As we move our way into midfield, the skipper's not going to be there. So does Ethan Nwaneri start for you after his good performance on Saturday?
I would go with Moreno for the reason being that his form is very, very good. He's, as I mentioned, he's a Basque. He played for Sociedad for years. This was a big derby for him. So he's going to be pumped up. He's just scored that hat-trick for Spain, and I thought he was brilliant at the weekend. That's his best performance in midfield, in my opinion. So I would just give Moreno the nod in this game, and I think that bit of experience, first Champions League game on Spanish soil as well, I would go with him.
Viggs is just saying, look how unpredictable our lineup is. Unlike last season. I mean, honestly, it's such a joy to be able to pick a squad, pick a team. Honestly, when needed, just shouting squad. So look, Moreno midfield for you. Alongside, name me the other two.
Zubi and Rice. I think you've got a really solid group in there. I think Rice was rested at the weekend so that he was right for this because he played 2 big games for England. And then Zubimendi he's the maestro in the middle.
Yeah, I've got a feeling the gaffer's going to go for experience tomorrow. I think Moreno will probably enjoy being out in Spain. Zubimendi will come in and Rice, yeah, probably that 3. Even though Mikel talked about how the game plan almost paid off at Anfield by playing that 3, I do think it's a little bit flat. I'd like to see someone who plays in between the lines and can turn and can receive the ball on the half turn and drive forward from those central positions. Maybe Declan Rice will be the more advanced player with Zubimendi and Moreno sticking back. I don't know. But I think Ethan Nwaneri, if he is to be left out, it's a real shame because I thought he did really well on Saturday.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the forward 3. Is it likely to be the same as Saturday, all 3?
I would stick with the same. I think Madueke's confidence is sky high. Gyökeres, as I mentioned, well, he doesn't have much competition, but Eze as well. I think he's getting familiar with his teammates, and I just want to get him playing games. So these guys can have a rest next week against Port Vale. Get them out, get them playing Champions League football. The other thing as well, we've got quite a big rest period between now and City. It's not like if we were playing Wednesday, Sunday, I would maybe think about rotating someone else, but we had that early kickoff Saturday, enough of a break, and then enough of a break before City to get some players fit. So that's why I wouldn't be doing a huge amount of change. But yeah, that's what I would go with. And with Moreno, I equally would be happy to see Nwaneri. I just think that Arteta is going to go with Moreno.
So you've not actually made too many changes, as I asked the chat for their predictions for tomorrow. I mean, we're talking Saliba potentially coming in and Mosquera going out to the right, maybe. Miles Lewis-Skelly coming in at left back. Marino coming in and obviously replacing Erdegaard, but Rice sort of coming into that midfield, and the front three staying as the front three. And so that means the likes of Piero Hincapié, Gabby Martinelli, Leandro Trossard, Ethan Wanieri, Max Dowman not going to get games. Christian Norgard, of course, back in the mix as well. It is a stacked squad. It's a great feeling, but yeah, really interesting to kind of hear that. So where do you think the game's going to be won and lost, Ad? And what do you think the score is going to be before I go to some of the comments in the chat?
I'm going to go with the wide areas. I think Madueke as the two of them, what they can do in those positions. And I think with Eze as well, we've got another creative player. So you mentioned having a player that can receive between the lines. I think Eze can do that very well. He can go wide and drop a shoulder and beat his man and pop it round him, do things that Martinelli wasn't doing. Even you look at Saturday, right before halftime, he got down the line, cut it back, and it's literally millimeters from Gyökeres turning that ball around. And it kind of just went wide. A few minutes later, same thing happened, but we got it down the line faster, played the ball straight across in the back of the net. And I think as he gives you that versatility on the left-hand side. But at the same time, now that I'm thinking about it, that extra player in midfield that can really do that in someone like Waneri would be really exciting. So yeah, I think the wide areas are where you can really kill teams, and the way our players are playing at the minute, that for me, because I know our midfield is going to be solid, I know our back line is going to be solid, but if we can turn up at the top end of the pitch like we did on Saturday, we can go and smash anyone.
Arsenal fans very confident. 3-0s and 4-0s in the chat here. Wow. Anajit saying 4-0 turning into my favourite score prediction. Ranted's gone 3-0 as well. Here's a more conservative 2-0 to the Arsenal from Krishna. Goals from Martinelli and Gyökeres. Umer saying 2-0. Ray going 3-0. Ankit saying 4-0. What do you reckon the score is going to be at?
I don't know if I'm as confident as everyone in the chat. So, yeah,
I think it's excitement more than anything else.
Yeah, one thing I'm very confident that it's just in our defense at the minute. We haven't conceded from open play. Maybe a 2-0 win. I'd take 1-0. I'd take just give me the points and let us go home. So the key for me is no injuries and getting the points on the board. But 2-0, I'm going to go with. What are you thinking?
I think we'll win tomorrow. I think we'll win 2-1, maybe 3-1. I fancy Athletic to score. It'll be a really good atmosphere for them tomorrow. Their opening game of the Champions League campaign. They've obviously had a decent start to La Liga. The place will be bouncing. It's a really lovely time of the day to kick off out there in Spain, and I'm sure they're going to give it as good as they get. There'll be tifos, there'll be lights, there'll be I can't wait. The music going through your veins. I can't wait for it. So I think we'll win 2-1, 3-1, and that'll do me. I just want the 3 points, come back, a clean bill of health ahead of this massive weekend's fixture against Manchester City. Right. Thank you so much for that, Ad. Really, really enjoyed that. I think we're going to leave it there, ladies and gents, boys and girls. We are, of course, in Bilbao tomorrow for that opening game of our Champions League stage. We'll be back tomorrow after the game with a match reaction video after the late kickoffs. So I don't want to ruin your live viewing. Do join me for that. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, enjoy it. Look forward to it. Take in the music. Inject it. And up the Arsenal. Bye for now.